Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Shadow Gallery. Officially, I am, as always, your host, James Donnelly, and welcome to week 3 of RETCONVERSATIONS, in which we will be discussing the new 52 of DC Comics. We're going to be breaking it down week by week. As I said, this is week 3. So we've got a lot of ground to cover here, and I want to try and do it in as short of a period of time as I can. Because there's a lot of stuff to discuss, a lot of new titles, and some I'm probably going to spend more time on than others. But like I said, I'm trying to keep it somewhat snappy, as they say. So, just kind of going off of these. Wrote down all my stuff here. So let's talk about Birds of Prey, number 1. So we got Dwayne Straczynski taking over. This is a really solid issue of this comic. However, it's not a really good first issue, because this is for people who are fans of the comic. Now, I do really like Birds of Prey. However, I have been trying to catch up on Birds of Prey over time, so I have literally no idea what's going on right now, and this is referencing pretty directly things that have happened just recently. So again, it's not a very good number 1. It's not a good jumping on point for Birds of Prey. Because first of all, I was like, who the hell is Starling? I have no idea who that is. I just, kind of get that, she's whatever, the, kind of 40s-esque goth, femme bombshell. And Black Canary is still Black Canary, but apparently she is a suspect in a murder. No idea what's going on there, but the plot, the characters. Straczynski is a very smart writer. I've liked his stuff for a while now, and he's a smart writer, and he's smart enough with a series like this to keep the sexualization of these characters, which could very easily be done more or less on the down low, and almost have it be a non-entity. They're badass crime fighters first and foremost, and they are, they're not your typical, the kind of iconography of females in the comic book world. Tends to be these kind of, hypersexualized versions of them. I don't get that feeling with this comic. They're women, they're crime fighters, they kick ass, they take names, and they're really good at their jobs, for the most part. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of Barbara in this issue, but she's taken her hike. So anyway, it's a really solid issue, but again, I don't know what just happened before this issue, so I don't know what's going on, other than the fighting of the invisible ninjas, or whatever the hell they are. So, moving on. Again, it's a solid read. I'm really on the fence about this one, as far as continuing it. Blue Beetle, number 1. So, as much as I do like Jaime Reyes, I do miss the hell out of Ted Kord, just because he was Ted Kord. Part of what was cool about the character was that he was this, incredibly, likable guy, even if he was a bit of a goofball. But then all of a sudden they decided to take him really, really seriously, and then of course, Jeff Johns and all of his, infinite wisdom decided to kill him. So that it would set off the Infinite Crisis, that whole thing. This is one of those unnecessary. It's another one of those unnecessary issues. Not in the sense of that there shouldn't be a Blue Beetle comic, but it's just that not okay. And this is where this may seem really contradictory in regards to what I just said about Birds of Prey. Whereas Blue Beetle is actually a really good #1 issue, but this is really, I mean, for a character who's only been around for a little while, we're really redoing his origin story again, so soon after the inception of this character seems like a waste of time. I just feel like, okay, well, this is a character who has had, we've done this story already, but we're going to do it again because they want to have this character out there, and that's fine. But to me, it's just like, the story didn't really, it didn't really grab me this time around. Because it's already been seen, it's already been done. So I guess that's my main problem with it. It's a good character. It's a solid first issue, like I said, in the sense of first issues. But like I said, it just seems unnecessary. It just seems like they literally could have reprinted, his origins from, a couple years ago. So anyway, Captain Atom #1. This is again not a really good first issue. Again, I'm going to seem like I'm contradicting myself again here, because it requires a lot more knowledge about this character than is given in this issue. Because but what I'm trying to say is that there's a balance that has to be struck with these new #1s. Is that on some ends you have these really well done, not introductions but continuations of the character, but for instance, like Frankenstein Agent of Shade. That was a really excellent first issue of this new of this new 52, because it was introducing us to characters that have already been established in this universe, but it also gave us enough information so as we didn't go in feeling like complete idiots. And I'm going to talk about some other comics that have made me feel that way from this new 52 in a little while. So this is, again, it's, you take a character that is, Captain Atom, he's still pretty obscure. Okay, so it's just, it's like trying to work with him and, to give him this big, to give him this first issue and then not really have who he is explained other than the science of his powers. That's, why am I supposed to root for this character then? What does he have in common with me? How can I empathize with him? How can I empathize with his plight? Because of course his plight is basically that he's, his powers are going to kill him. That's the big, thing surrounding this issue. It's pretty standard as far as the writing itself is concerned. It's, the art's really nice. I liked the art in this issue a lot. But again, it's not very interesting. The character work is just not. It's almost absent, aside from like I said, discussing that. Okay, well, he's kind of dying. He could just literally just kind of dissipate. He's losing his grip on his own structure. So I mean, it's nothing special. Again, it's a story we've seen 1,000 times, and we've seen it done better. So this is, you know, it's a very average comic. DC Universe presents. This I read this issue, and I was thinking to myself, why? Why even? These guys are literally cashing paychecks. That's all it is. You know, Paul Jenkins, who I know can be a good writer, just completely dropped the ball on this. It was like, you know what? I'm going to tell an origin story about Deadman, but I'm not going to give you any meat. You know, there's a lot of filler, but there's no actual drama. There's nothing really interesting happening here. There's nothing to propel the story forward. It's just exposition. And there's nothing interesting about that. I mean, it felt so phoned in, and, you know, it was like it seemed like they were really not trying to work. It's like they were trying not to do they were trying to not do a good comic. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna write this. I'm gonna write a whole bunch of stuff down. Yes, bits of Boston Brand, and, you know, bits of his life, and yeah, this is what he does. He jumps into people's bodies. They're all seemingly connected, but I'm not really gonna have anything happen. How is that interesting? You know, I mean, because this is an anthology series. This is, I mean, you have to set that up right from the beginning. You have to put the character that you're working with in a situation right off the bat, almost right off the bat, into a situation that says, okay, I got to get the next issue because I'm dying to find out what's going to happen next. Nothing. I mean, it's literally, it's devoid of any real passion for the character outside of explaining his backstory. You know, I understand it's a little bit of a new take on this character, but there's just nothing there. It's like, you know, it was like looking at blank pages after I you know, it was so utterly forgettable that it was just like, nah, okay, big deal. I was horrifically disappointed in this. Legion of Superheroes and Legion Lost. I'm going to cover those both right now. These are books that must be written for the most hardcore of hardcore Legion fans. Because not only did I have not a fucking clue as to what was going on in either of these, particularly in Legion Lost. Legion of Superheroes is like, okay, well, I kind of see what's going on here, but there's way too much information being thrown at you. It's like, it's not even so much that it's exposition, it's just like, okay, well, here's what's going on here, here's this character. I mean, because there's so many characters in Legion of Superheroes. Legion Lost, it was just like, okay, I don't know who any of these people are, I don't know what any of their powers are, I'm reading this, and it's like, it felt like I was reading a foreign language comic. It's like I have no idea what these people are talking about, what they're saying, what they're doing, what their problem is. You know, why are they stuck here? What's with this time bubble? What the fuck? That was just what I was thinking. What am I looking at here? What am I reading? I have no idea. Literally no idea. And I wasn't entertained at all. I was just lost. And I don't like that feeling. That's not a good feeling, especially when you're dealing with number ones. So like I said, I think those are comics only for hardcore Legion fans, which I am not. So, we're going to come back. We're going to discuss some of the more controversial issues that came out this week. So, stay tuned for that, because I think you'll like that one. So, stay tuned.